What's up? This is P Diggy 22 with an Infamous Second Son review. So in Infamous Second Son, you no longer play as Cole. You're now some dude named Deslin with new powers, abilities, and a new city. The graphics are pretty good. The gameplay is pretty smooth. New powers, they're fun to use. You got smoke, neon, video, and rock. There's no longer electric grinding, which unfortunately is something I really enjoyed in the past games that they took out, and they deliberately took out power lines, it looks like, from the environment. The new way to move around now is through smoke jumping in events, which is fun but not nearly as smooth or as cool as electric grinding. The main differences between good and evil karma is the way you gain your super attack power, which appears in the upper left hand corner of the screen. Subduing enemies and healing citizens will fill 1 bar, so after 7 of those you get your super attack if you have good karma. You get more attacks with good karma, making it a little bit easier to kill mass amounts of enemies when you're ambushed. Where having bad karma, you don't have to worry about who you kill, but the super attacks are harder to come by, if that makes any sense. The game is open world, but it feels a bit too linear. You're not free to go explore different powers and abilities. You have to do everything in a sequential order, including leveling up. One thing that bothered me about the open world is the fact that environment never really changes. It always feels and looks the same. Which, if you've played games like Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto, you know how dynamic those environments get when you move from island to island and whatnot. This game doesn't have it, that sort of dynamic to it. This game also lacks enemies and bosses. I think there's a total of about 6 different enemies and really only like 3 bosses. And the majority of the battles, the boss battles, they're exactly the same. One of the main characters in the game, Hank, you just get to kill him. I would have much rather had Suckerpunch turn this free kill into another boss fight. I mean, he's such a vital part of the storyline, and you just get to kill him with some cutscene button press of R2, or you can let him free if you have good karma. But no matter what you choose, you never fight Hank. Even with an array of new powers, you only need to use 1 power per boss fight. You never have to counter a boss's power by changing your current power. And somehow, they still manage to make water the most lethal and annoying enemy in the game. As soon as you touch water, you gotta start from the shore. And it resets the sequence you're in, you start from like a checkpoint. Pretty lame. Without the ability to skip cutscenes, I managed to beat my second playthrough in under 6 hours. That's too short of a campaign and a little too easy. And this game just holds your hand a little bit too much. Everything is clearly marked on the map where you have to go and what you have to do, pretty much eliminating any need for exploration. And it doesn't really give you a reason to explore, other than finding random shards that are flying throughout the map. And the side missions that I played were basically the same as the story missions, just with unknown characters who had no purpose. There really is no reason for a second playthrough in another karma. There's a slight difference in powers, but the gameplay never changes. Whether you're good or evil, you still fight the same exact bosses in the same exact way. There's only at most an hour of new gameplay, but that's only on the missions where you get to choose between good and evil before you start. In the end, I thought it was a pretty good game that lacked content and difficulty. And it's hard for me to ignore a great base for a competitive online multiplayer, which would add some much needed replay value. In the end, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's probably not worth the $60 unless you're a die-hard Infamous fan. There's just not enough replay value there. But with the lack of games on the PS4, it's almost a must rent at this point. P Diggy 22.